predictions for Saturday's game, including predictions from around the ACC. All of that and more on today's Locked On Boston College.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black. On today's show, we're going to dive in and give a preview and prediction for Saturday's game against the Syracuse Orange. With me today, I have Eric Hoffses. Eric, how's it going?
Well, I'm good. Certainly better than the BC football team, that's for sure.
All right. So, Eric, I'm going to jump right into this. Dennis Grosel, go ahead. Give me crap for it.
Well, you were supporting him just 7 days ago, so I assume you still are now, and nothing's changed.
No, okay. Here's where I stand, and I will make my position clear here.
Thank you.
I supported Dennis Grosel through two games, the Clemson game and the NC State game, and then I thought I would give him one more chance with Louisville. I listened to it. We both thought that he'd be able to find things in that defense. He didn't. He struggled, and I want to say right now I'm officially off the bandwagon. I'm done. I don't think I do not believe he should be the quarterback. Now, here's my question for you. Do you think he'll be the quarterback on Saturday, given Jeff Hafley's comments?
I think we're going to see some sort of mix. The thing I can't wrap my head around is people that have seen the other quarterbacks more than me, certainly, have been consistent in telling me all of September and all of October that none of these guys are ready yet. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm having a hard, not that Dennis Grosel's been good, but I'm so that being said, I'm having a hard time imagining him being Hafley throwing one of these guys into the mix and them playing a whole game. Like I can't connect the dots between none of these guys being ready to one of them suddenly suiting up against Syracuse and playing the entire game. So right. I'm gonna go with a prediction of you see some kind of mix of Dennis Grosel and one of the younger guys, and that would be acceptable for me. I actually said last week that I'd like for them to start doing the old Tom O'Brien, where you put the young guy in for a series in the second quarter every game to just give him experience and see what you got. So I'd certainly open to some kind of mix, but I do feel a little badly for one of these young quarterbacks, because this is a pretty good defense they're going against this week. Certainly better than the Louisville defense they played last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was the game that I was that's why I expected Grosel to play well. I mean, we saw him do well against a poor UVA defense last year. I figured he would do well enough to get the offense moving, but he looked exactly the same as he did against Louisville and against Clemson. And so the thought, like going back to Hafley's comments, I did a whole episode just on that one comment alone, and I had some more feedback of it. And as I've kind of stewed on it, I've been able to kind of get to where I think I can think of what he's doing. First of all, the comment that he said, where he said it was an easy decision to make, that to me means Dennis Grosel, because he's not going to say it's an easy decision to bench Dennis Grosel. I just don't, unless he had a huge flub of the tongue. It doesn't make any sense for him to say that. Am I correct? Like, he's a battled veteran, a guy that you've been crowing about since training camp. To say,
now that you mention it, that would be really just hugely trolling Grosel if he said it was an easy decision and then doesn't bring him back out there.
And then on top of that, the other pieces that kind of slid into place after I listened to yesterday's press conference, Joey Luchetti, the tight end, and Alex Linkfield, the running back, both talked in the present tense about Dennis Grosel as their quarterback. So to me, that strikes me like, I know that they've all been kind of programmed to say the right things. To me, that strikes me as Grosel. And I agree with you, Eric. What I think is going to end up happening is Grossel's going to get a very, very short leash. Like they're going to try him out there. And if they see the same stuff happening over and over again, they're going to go to the bullpen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you have no choice. You can't just keep, if we see what we've seen over the last 3 weeks, certainly including last week against a really poor defense, then you have to just try something else at that point.
And so we're moving on to Syracuse now. And as you said, it's a good defense. And that's what surprises me about Dino Babers is that this is a guy that has, one of the things that he has done really well is this, especially this year, is really redefined his team. I mean, this is a team that for years past has been tempo, throw, going that air raid offense. And now all of a sudden he's like almost like a Dazio Light. He's got like a mobile quarterback, a running back that can punish you. What are your thoughts on Syracuse at this point, Eric?
Yeah, just like you said, I'm actually kind of impressed by Dino Babers. What a journey this guy's had. I think we forget that just a couple of years ago, after Cuse had that pretty good season, he actually had his name, float around for some pretty big jobs out there, and he ended up staying at Syracuse, and most Syracuse fans were pretty thrilled that he stayed there and was going to keep building on momentum. They seemed to be getting better every year when he first arrived, and then of course last year was a disaster of a season, and it felt like he was a lame duck this year, that they were going to just kind of continue what they did last year and kind of fade away. But really, Cuse has been probably one of the biggest surprises in the conference, and that's the sign of a pretty good coach, when you can redefine your philosophy, your style, and adapt it to the players you have, and that's what he's done. I think he probably wishes he had this defense to pair with some of those offenses he had earlier in his career at Cuse, but they're getting the job done. And this game certainly went from a game that I had marked as an easy win to start the year to the way BC's playing now. Obviously, it's going to be a huge challenge.
All right, in a moment, we're going to talk all about Sean Tucker and that defense. But before we do that, this episode of Locked On Boston College is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where families and friends can come to connect. A place where classmates can come up for study groups knowing they'll have dependable Wi-Fi and an endless supply of hash browns and french fries. Win or lose, it's a place where teammates, competitors, the home team, or the away team can come to recharge. It's a place where you look forward to stopping by after a long road trip and you need to refuel. Head on over to McDonald's and have a good time. They have my favorite, the sausage McMuffin, and I love to get that with a hash brown and orange juice. That's my weekend meal when I head on over to the Golden Arches and check that out. Now, when you head over to McDonald's, make sure to say, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. There you go. You get me singing it, Eric. And, all right, so Locked On Boston College here. This is AJ Black. I'm joined by, as always, by Eric Hoffses on Fridays. This is our prediction and preview episode. We talked a little bit about Dennis Grossell. We were just getting into Dino Babers and the nice job he's done at retooling this Syracuse team. And what strikes me about this team, when you look at the strength of their team, especially that offense, is their running back, Sean Tucker, who leads the nation in running right now, I believe, and is one of the most dynamic running backs, but you don't hear him mentioned at all. And it's probably because Syracuse is only 4-4, but he is single-handedly kind of lifted that offense. Eric, watching him run, who does he remind you of, or what kind of style do you think of when you see Sean Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, he's a powerful guy that can also make some people miss. And you're right, he gets absolutely zero recognition. And I've been trying to rack my brain. I'd be pretty confident he's one of the one or two best running backs that BC has went up against this year. Can you think of anyone you'd clearly say is better?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Clemson had a couple guys, but neither of them were, Marfa and their other back there was not anywhere near the level that Sean Tucker is.
No. So this is obviously going to be a huge challenge. This guy's the real deal for sure. And it'll be interesting. The BC linebackers have kind of been up and down this year. So you kind of hope they have their A game this weekend, or it could spell trouble for sure.
And I think the piece that adds the issue to me, like if BC had to go one-on-one with a good running back, I would feel confident that Jeff Hafley could manage that, right? If it was just the running back, like if it was Tommy DeVito and that running back, I'd be okay. But Garrett Shrader has 12 rushing touchdowns, and I know he's not Malik Cunningham, but Malik Cunningham shredded BC last week, and it opened up the running game for them as well. And I just worry that if they get Shrader going, that's going to open huge holes for Sean Tucker. And if you get him in space, he's going to cause some major problems for that defense.
Yeah, we said it last week, right? That BC is kind of historically, no matter who the coach is, struggled to contain running quarterbacks. And it was just another chapter added on last week. So let's see if Hafley can get it figured out. That's his thing, obviously, a defensive guy. So a lot will be on him to get that fixed for this weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I heard his comments about Tem Lokabu from the last week. And I believe he said, I was happy with how they defended against Malik Cunningham. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
I know he was also, I could hear him angry about it after the game, because I know he was saying that a lot of the guys were out of place, they were missing gaps, things like that. Now the BC offense, we talked about Grosel, we talked about if he's playing, we don't know, and that's the frustrating part about this is we don't know who the quarterback is, and that could dictate how. I mean, the game plan is going to be the same. Hafley keeps saying that over and over again. They're going to do the same thing no matter who the quarterback is, I believe. How is BC going to be able to move the ball? I mean, I feel like defenses are now just cheating in so much that they can't do anything short or intermediate. They can't run the ball anymore efficiently or consistently, because they're just, running into trouble, and then they fall behind. And once they're behind, it's over.
You're exactly right. And hey, this might be one of the weeks where you start pulling out the gadget plays and things like that, try and jumpstart the team. And to be honest, I know their number of possessions and plays is cut way down. So because the offense has been so bad, so I can't totally blame the staff, but I'd like to see him try and get the ball in Zay Flowers' hands more. I know it's easier said than done, but this guy is the playmaker on the team, and it's obvious that they can't hit him deep. So I'd love for them to try and figure out a way to somehow get him involved in other ways, whether it's lining up on the backfield and throwing it to him out of the backfield or anything, because it's obviously nothing's working right now. So I think when all else fails, you have to get the ball in your playmakers' hands and figure out creative ways to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them trying. I've seen a couple plays, and it seems like, again, the defenses are cheating so much up that, like, by the time, if Zay Flowers catches it 2 or 3 yards out, there's like 5 guys on him by the time he catches the ball, because they're all just waiting for the short stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm flabbergasted with this offense right now, and I don't know how they fix this. It seems like, I don't want to say it sounds like 2015 all over again, but it's almost, to me, getting to that point, because they got way more talent. I want to say that right off the bat. It just seems like the scheme is so broken right now that they can't get out of their own way. And the offensive line's not doing them any favors. Do you have any thoughts on the offensive line too? Because I kind of ripped into some of the plays on there, because I think some of the guys, I think Alec Lindstrom has been playing out of his mind. And I think Zion Johnson's been pretty good, and Christian Mahogany's been pretty good, but some of those tackle plays, I mean, man, Tyler Vrabel had a rough game on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a rough year overall. There's kind of been a couple plays per game, I feel like, where you can kind of like, look, I'm no offensive line guru, so I shouldn't be able to like clearly pick out when you get beat on a play. And that seems to be happening a lot with him. I don't know how much is injury related or not, but yeah, you're getting kind of inconsistent play from the line, some really good play from a couple players like you named, and not so good from others. But Really, I mean, when the defense are cheating up like this, I mean, you can have the best O-line in the country and you're going to struggle when your quarterback can't hit anyone more than 15 yards down the field. So, I think we're trying to place the blame in other places, but I mean, the main problem right now is they can't hit a pass like over 15 yards in the air. And when you can't do that in the year 2021, you're going to have some serious trouble on offense for sure.
I think Mitch put it best. Mitch Wolf, our Monday co-host, he said, he texted me the other day and said, I've been watching he watches the film. He does scouting work on some other sites. And he said, I don't know how you can watch that film and say it's anyone other than Dennis Grosel, like consistently. Of course, there's like plays where blitzes, like where Vrabel missed that block last week. That's not Grosel's fault. I mean, the guy came in basically untouched, but like the deep stuff, some of those reads where he's just missing guys, it's on him. So I don't know how what's that again? Go ahead.
No, I was jumping in saying, yeah, that's why, when even when I'm talking about the staff trying to find ways to get Zay Flowers the ball, I mean, that's just kind of scratching for answers to try and get the offense started. I mean, Mitch is right when, like I just said, when you can't hit a receiver 20 yards down the field, it severely limits your offense. And like you go back to the Clemson game, the NC State game, even last week. I mean, there's guys open down the field. The ball's just not getting to them. So it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough for me to question any of the coaching when like they're getting the guys open. You got to make the plays though.
Yeah. All right, Eric, this is probably going to be the most depressing prediction time I think we've had all season, because I think we've predicted BC in all 7 games. Go ahead, make your prediction for Saturday.
Well, you know what? I just think Jeff Hafley is a really good coach. I just can't picture this guy losing 4 games in a row. And that I think one of the things that they're going to try and take advantage of this week is special teams. One of the things I haven't seen talked about a ton about Syracuse is for as many good things as they're doing, but between their rushing attack and their defensive stats being the number 3 D in the ACC, basically behind Clemson and NC State, Cuse kind of struggles a bit on special teams. They're last in the ACC in yards per punt. Their field goal kicker is 7 of 12 on field goal attempts this year, which percentage wise is last in the ACC. All their kick return, punt return stats, they're all middle of the pack. I think it's interesting. I think Hafley's a smart coach, and he's going to try and take advantage of that side of the ball in the 3 phases, because hey, his offense can't get anything going. So you gotta try and find edges somewhere else. And I think we're gonna see something with the special teams. He's gonna take advantage of that this week. So I'm calling for BC to pull off the upset here. 21-20 over Syracuse.
Oh, wow. All right. So here's my thoughts. If it's gross, I mean, it's hard to just gauge this, but I'll go with I'll give you 2 predictions. If Grosel plays, I think BC will continue to struggle. I think they're going to yank him by halftime. I think the offense will still struggle no matter who they put out there. And I have Syracuse winning this easy, like 28-14. I'll go with the same score as the Louisville game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I told you a couple of weeks ago you were going to predict Syracuse to blow DC doors off by 2 touchdowns?
It's a road game against an offense I don't think BC is set to stop. I worry about this game a lot. I don't think they have it. So 28-14. And even, you know what? I'll even stick with the same score if it's Emmett Moorhead or Dalen Menard. I don't know. I'll say 28-14 in this game.
Wow.
I know. All right. In a moment, Eric and I are going to go through the rest of the ACC and look at some games, including a big time renewed rivalry game between Florida State and Clemson. But let's chat about BetOnline. We're back and better than ever. New web interface for the start of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number 1 spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive that bonus. From basketball, football, baseball, postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 21 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. If you haven't heard me talk about Built Bar, you haven't been listening enough. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It is delicious. Most protein bars are chalky, waxy, or just plain hard to choke down. Sometimes you just need a glass of water just so you can swallow the things. Built Bar is completely different. It's soft, covered in 100% real chocolate, and when you bite into it, you know you're eating something different. It's more of an experience, one that you will enjoy. You know I love them. I have them. I had one right before I got on with Eric. I had a chocolate chip cookie dough bar. It was amazing. And if you want to try some other flavors, maybe that's not the style you like, you can check out the raspberry, mint brownie, coconut almond, salted caramel, double chocolate, and coconut cherry barcia. Cherry barcia is excellent too. Head on over to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Again, head on over to BuiltBar.com to receive and use promo code LOCKEDON to receive 15% off your next order. Eric Hoffses is here. I just gave my all uber depressing predictions for Saturday's game where I have BC losing by quite a bit. What we're going to do now is go around the rest of the ACC and look at some of the other games this weekend. This is a full slate of games. I did some wagering last week. I did a parlay, a four-way parlay, and I tanked hard. This week, I don't know. I haven't even looked at the bets of what I want to make, but I'll tell you when we go along, and Eric can give his predictions as well. First game, Virginia Tech is a 4-point underdog at Georgia Tech. What? Eric, Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech, excuse me. Wow, how the money had fallen. Tech had that big win to start the year against North Carolina, and just 2-4 since then. And I don't really love either of these teams. I guess I just take the points and hope for the best, but neither of these teams, I feel like what you're going to get any week. So I'll take Virginia Tech, but I don't feel good about it.
All right, next game, and this is your chance to brag away, Eric, because I told you you were wrong when you did it, and you picked it correctly. You picked Miami last week to beat NC State.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you nailed it.
I did, but that's called I've gambled for way too long, because that was one of those games where it just made no sense, and I was like, who the hell would take Miami in this game? But sometimes you got to do that, because Vegas is just begging for you to take a team you don't want to do it. They were begging you to take North Carolina State last week, and Miami pulled it off. And actually, surprisingly, Miami has played a lot better since King went down for the year. I don't know if that's the old Bill Simmons Ewing effect or what, but they beat NC State, putting up 31 points last week. They put up 42 the week before that against North Carolina. They put up 28 against Virginia the week before that, even though Virginia's defense is not very good. But the bottom line is they went from one of the worst offenses in the ACC to not that bad since Van Dyke has took over at quarterback. So, Miami, it's a nice turnaround story for them. They're going on the road at Pitt this week. 9.5. This is another one where it's like, wow, Pitt has looked so good. Aren't they just going to blow the doors off Miami? I'm actually going to ride the Canes here. I think they keep playing well. They're playing a lot better than they were earlier in the year.
I'm on there with you with this one. It just seems like the line is really fat, and you're right. The one thing to think about though is Miami going to have a letdown game after a big win. I don't think they will. I think they'll continue to ride it, and I take Miami with the points in this one. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have a letdown played against Pitt, who's the best team in maybe the whole conference right now. So I think they'll be up for it.
Speaking of large lines, 9.5 points for Clemson over Florida State. I'm taking the Seminoles in this one. Florida State's been playing a lot better than Clemson. I don't know if they're going to outright beat them, but they've also got a little added motivation after that debacle last year. I think they're gunning for this game, and I think Clemson is definitely a sitting duck to not only not cover this, but possibly lose it.
Yeah, AJ, I'm actually with you on that. I had a horrendous pick last week taking UMass on the 35 points against Florida State. Really, and my thinking was I didn't think I know UMass is bad, but I didn't think they were bad, like UConn level bad. So, and I thought Florida State would be looking ahead to the Clemson game this week, and they were locked in last week. And you're right, they're playing a lot better. And that Clemson offense can barely score 10 points. Never mind, cover a spread by around that number. So, give me the points, give me the Noles. They're playing a lot better.
All right. And then following that, there is Duke and Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a 16-point favorite. Now, Wake Forest played in one of the most entertaining games where they won, I think, 70-56 against Army. Yeah, 70-56 against Army. In a game that had absolutely no defense at all on either side. But Duke's offense is not very good. Can they keep it within 16 points, Eric?
I wouldn't take Duke right now. They just I feel bad, David Cutcliffe. I thought his team would have kind of a bounce back year this year, and they're just not a very good football team. So Wake Forest just keeps rolling. They're a machine right now, and as far as the ACC goes, and I'm gonna keep riding the Demon Deacons.
All right, 7:30 start. Louisville at NC State. These are the last two teams that beat Boston College. NC State's a 7-point favorite in this game. Will NC State bounce back, or is this the start of Dave Doran kind of getting right back into that middle sweet spot about 8 wins for the ACC?
No, I'm going to take NC State in this game. I despite what we watched with our own eyes last weekend, I just still don't think Louisville's very good. I think NC State can score on that defense, and I think the NC State defense bounces back a little bit and has a big performance. Plus, I always do look to see who Clemson has coming up. It's kind of an overlooked factor there, and Louisville is hosting Clemson in a big game next weekend. So I'm going to take NC State in this one.
All right, I'm not going to touch that game. That's the one I'm going to stay off of. All right, UNC. They draw the Fighting Irish. It's a 3.5-point spread. I don't know who I want in this game. I'm going to stick with the Irish. I think UNC has been very inconsistent this year. I think Notre Dame will pull this one off.
Yeah, I just don't want any part of North Carolina till they show me they can kind of like play a complete game. And they've only really done that against Duke a couple of weeks ago. And I don't think Duke's very good. They couldn't beat Florida State, who's playing better, but at home, you shouldn't lose by 10 to Florida State if you're a good team. Barely squeaked by Miami last week, even though, like I said, Miami playing better, but North Carolina, they should be beating teams like Miami, Florida State, by double digits if they're kind of on Notre Dame's level, which is what the spread is suggesting. So I'm going to stick with the Irish this weekend. I wouldn't want the points with Carolina right now.
All right. And finally, a game that I think could be a lot of fun. Virginia travels to BYU, and BYU is a 2.5-point favorite. I've been waiting for Virginia to have a big win, and I think this could be it for them. They're going to get a top 25 win against BYU. I like Brennan Armstrong. I know their defense is garbage, but I think they could do it.
Well, that's a confident pick from you. That would be a great one for them. BYU nationally ranked, and Bronco going home. Hey, I kind of like, you know what? You sold me. I really had no opinion on the game, but I'll ride your pick on this one as well. We'll take Virginia. BYU
has I ride on UVA for having a bad defense. BYU's is 165th in the country too. So they're not much better. And I think if you put that kind of defense against Armstrong, he could put up some points.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, let's wrap things up. We're out of time. Where can people find you on social media?
You can check out all my great college football and college hoops takes on Twitter at EJ Hoffses, HOFFSES, and all my barbecue on Hoffa BBQ across Instagram and Facebook.
All right, Eric, thanks as always for coming on. This is AJ Black. You can follow me on Twitter at AJ Black_BC. You can follow our podcast at Locked On BC. Hey, my blue check is back again. I don't think it's going to go away this time. And If you want to DM me and ask me why, I can find out. I'm kidding. I have no idea. I'm just hoping it stays there. You can also check us out on YouTube. Just look up Locked On BC. You can find our latest episodes up on there. Make sure to follow our podcast feed, and you can get all of the latest updates. On Monday, we'll be joined by Mitch Wolf, as always, to review the Syracuse game, talk about the ups and downs. We will talk about the game and the quarterback situation. Hopefully we'll get some answers on Saturday. This is AJ Black. Thank you all for listening, and see you soon. Take care.